It's about that time.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of City Views, being brought to you by our sponsor, Toth Insurance Agency, located at 1151 East Main Street. Better protection, better value. On today's show, ladies and gentlemen, it just really thrills me to be able to have this conversation with an old friend and colleague, Jessica. This is a very timely conversation, and I'm really, on one hand, I'm very excited about what you're going to talk to our audience about today. But on the other hand, I have to be honest. The COVID has just been sometimes you just can't put your hands around not only the virus itself, but the impact on our society. I mean, it's in every community. Obviously, it's dominating the news, and it's something that I hope that we're learning something from by now, and putting ourselves in a position where we can gain a little more perspective going forward, so that we can actually come up with some brick and mortar opportunities to rebuild our communities, both economically, culturally, technologically. And I think that your position and your influence in the community over the years is an example of someone who is rooted in that type of perspective from the community aspect, and understands how very important it is that that you're on top of your game.
It's true. Yeah, it's been tough.
Yeah, and but I'm going to turn the floor over to you, Jessica, and let you talk to our audience a little bit about your work at the Torrington Library, and some of the perspectives that you have in being a vital part of keeping this community girded going forward.
Great. Well, thanks, Jack. That's a great introduction. Thanks for having me on. I'm thrilled. I thought you were going to try to pronounce my last name there, and that's why I said good luck, because it's a toughie. But no, it's Jacques. I mean, we've known each other for such a long time, and I've now been director through a renovation project and having children, and now a pandemic. So I feel like I've covered a lot of ground in my 5 years as director, and I keep saying, well, what else is going to be next? And I'm a little afraid of that answer. But I think, like everybody, when the pandemic first hit, we did what most businesses did. We closed up shop physically in our physical building. We wanted to make sure everybody was safe. We sent everybody home. We kept ourselves open virtually, which was interesting, because I think so many organizations are defined by their physical building. So if you think about it, when you have an art gallery, when you have a theater, a restaurant, you're really rooted in your building. And if that can't be open, what do? How do you handle it? And so that was a situation for us. I mean, we have 60,000 volumes of books out here. We have, a dozen public access computers, and all of a sudden we really had to just shift gears and go, okay, our building is closed, but that doesn't mean we have to be closed. We can offer a lot of viable solutions from people's homes. So we immediately started working from home, all of us, and I have an incredible staff of 18 people. And we all took different kind of chunks of what it means to be a virtual library home with us. So we immediately made it very accessible to get online library cards. Fill out an application. We'll send you all of your info. We'll show you how to log on to things. Okay, step one. Step two, let's renew cards if they've been expired. Okay, great. That went great. And then it was, what resources do we have to offer people? So we have online books, we have ebooks, we have online videos, we have streaming services, online classes, art classes, craft classes. Okay, so how do we get that into the hands of people and then still be able to answer the tech questions? Because some of these resources are developed by extremely talented tech people who sometimes need a little help translating to regular talk. So it's all right. How do we do that? And we open up our email addresses. Okay, so we don't have a phone, so people can email us. There were a couple of occasions I gave out my cell phone number to people who were interested, and nobody took advantage of it, which was great afterwards. But it was definitely, and I hate to use this term because it's been so overused, but there was a really big pivot in the library world for all of us. And then we started doing virtual programming, and that whole world was just so new to us. And how do we utilize social media and Zoom and Google Meets, and then go from there. And I will say my staff figured it out really, really quickly, did a lot of troubleshooting really, really quickly, and figured it all out just in time for us to reopen again in June. So, and then that came with a whole other set of logistics that to an extent was a little mind-numbing but exciting. So that was kind of our initial reaction. And then we just once we could open again, we said, okay, how do we do it safely? How do we do it responsibly? We had, you have a volume from the governor this thick of everything you have to do, and how do you procure supplies? It's opening your doors is super easy. You just unlock the door, people come in. That's the easy part. The hard part is, okay, how do we get the plexiglass shields? How do we get all of the cleaning supplies? What sort of cleaning schedule do we have? What do we do with the books? And luckily, we got a lot of guidance from CDC, the American Library Association. So again, it was this kind of roller coaster of, okay, openings up, it seems easy, but there's really a lot more to it than that. So it was a whirlwind. It was definitely a whirlwind. And I say that my staff adjusted to a new normal very, very quickly. And a new normal for us is, regular hours. We're here our Monday through Saturday. We have our entire stack open for browsing, so you can come in, look at the books, check out books. We ask you to return them outside just because we are quarantining books for 72 hours and all of our materials. DVDs are available, audiobooks. We just opened up all of our public access stations again, computer stations. So that was huge because a lot of people didn't have internet access when we were shut down. And we had opened up a few stations at a time, and then slowly, as we put more social distancing measures in place, we were able to open them up fully. And so that's a normal day for us. And we're back up to seeing probably about 120, 130 people a day. Pre-pandemic, we would range anywhere from 250 to 300. So we consider ourselves a little slow. But on the flip side, we also do curbside pickup now. So a lot of people are calling us and placing holds. We fulfill the holds, and then we just run them out to your car to you. And I think January alone, my numbers so far have been about 200 actual requests and I think it was about 450 items circulated just through curbside. So that's where we're at. That's the long and short of it. And programming, we're doing all this virtual programming, which I'll talk about later, but it's very fun.
The aspect of making that transition and managing that transition, I think is part of your skill set, because our time at working on the Arts and Culture Commission, it was like 500 miles a minute, especially in some very, let's just say, tense situations. And those skills that you brought to the table in terms of focus, process, and I'm sure there was a two-way situation going on there, because the people that we were working with, I mean, you're talking about very knowledgeable people in the areas in which in which they work. So, but a little bit beyond that too. I think it's interesting in terms of, especially when you look at the technological aspect of the library and its evolution in the northwest corner. I How do you take in consideration the fact that the library role over the next, let's just say, 5 years, what part that's going to play in the overall educational scheme in the community?
So libraries are constantly evolving and changing, and that's the one thing, is we are not a static organization, and we are constantly trying to monitor what the temperature of our community is. So if we find that we have, let's say, a struggling education system, we're going to say, okay, where can we fill the gap? We know that in Torrington, there tends to be an issue with children not reaching, let's say, their reading levels by third grade, which is pivotal in education and in educational metrics. So we step in and we go, okay, we can't necessarily fix a problem. However, we can offer resources that will help at least to alleviate the problem and give people an opportunity to help themselves within the situation. So we recently just received a grant through the Community Foundation to offer an early literacy program that is wonderful. It's going to launch February 1st, and then the registration for it launches February 1st. The program begins March 1st, and it's basically encouraging and giving early readers and their parents the tools they need to succeed. So those are small ways that we can help out. Other ways is that we try to offer as many free resources as we can to the community. So we know oftentimes there are people who go, oh, I would love to be able to take a class on Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel. It would really help me with my business. It would help me in terms of professional development. But if you go to actually take those classes, let's say at a college or given by an in-person instructor, they can be pricey. And a lot of people can't afford that. So we subscribe to a really wonderful service called lynda.com, and it offers about 30,000 different courses. And you can take it for free. It tracks your course hours. It's very interactive. And it offers everything from photography classes to the Microsoft Suite classes to management classes. I know quite a few professionals in town who know this isn't an accredited program, so you're not going to get college credit towards a degree, but who use it to just brush up their skills. And they go, oh, we love that management class that spoke about how to handle, maybe a difficult employee, or how to handle HR questions better. So we offer a lot of free classes like that, which is great. Our programming oftentimes is kind of divvied up between fun, great programming. It's just kind of something to take your mind off the current world. We have a lot of those. And then we also try to balance that out with programming that is educational as well, but that's fun educational. So that, for example, we had a dog listener last night who spoke to you about training your dog. So if you're going to go and actually take a dog training class, or you're going to bring your dog to doggy daycare, it could cost you quite a bit of money. But with, our 1 hour, 2 hour class, a lot of people got some really great tips that were free. So we always try to find that balance. And then obviously for the kiddos, our children's librarian, Sue, is always thinking of fun, different, creative programming that tricks them into learning, so they don't know they're learning because they're having so much fun. But at the end of the day, you really know that they're getting it. They're picking up on something special. So those are our little ways that we can help. We also provide internet access, free Wi-Fi. I can't tell you, it's tax season now, so my girls are going nuts out there trying to help people print tax forms and get the right tax forms. We're not accountants. We cannot do your taxes for you, much to their dismay, but we'll help you get the forms. We'll direct you where to go. So it's all of those things tied in that help us contribute, hopefully, to a stronger community in the long run.
talk a little bit too, Jessica, about when you're talking about collaborations and whatnot, about the Torrington Library and its historical place in the community and the programs and activities that you do around that.
So the library has been in town. It was formed in 1864, so we've been here over 150 years. We've been in our current home. It's, the big marble gorgeous building on Descotten Place since 1901. So we have some roots here. We've seen a lot, and we've been here for quite some time. And what I thought was really interesting, we started to look back at our history. And we have these wonderful old ledgers back to 1864 when the library was formed, and they have a ton of Post-it notes in them. So when was this pipe replaced? When was that done? When was this done? But one thing that we found recently was a mention about the 1918 flu pandemic and how the library was affected during what was really the first pandemic of our time as a library organization. And they did exactly what we're doing now. They closed their doors for a little bit, made sure everything was safe, and opened back up. And that was 100 years ago. So we used the phrase, we got you through the first pandemic, we'll get you through this one too. And it was really true. So we have deep, deep roots in Torrington. We understand the culture. We understand the challenges that Torrington faces as an evolving city, the transition from a really working class factory town now into an arts community, and what that means to your population, and then how you have to adjust your services as a library to meet certain needs. We understand that we're now considered a distressed municipality by the state of Connecticut. So what does that mean in terms of socioeconomic equity of gaining access to materials, and how do we provide that equal and fair access to everybody? I know that's kind of shop talk in library land, but that's where it is. It's a little shop talk, but that's where we're at. And we're no different than every other library too. We all have these conversations very frequently of how do we shift our own goals to meet those of our community, because if nobody comes in our building, there's no point in us being here. So how do we really draw in the largest amount of people and try to serve everybody, because we don't have an audience, and that's hard. We are literally birth up through when you decide to, cross over the Rainbow Bridge. We're here for you throughout the whole thing. And that's tough. That's basically we're trying to meet as many needs as we can. We don't have a certain demographic that we try to focus on. So that just goes into a whole other kettle of fish.
Jessica, I can tell you from firsthand knowledge, people who have used the library as a stepping stone to greater endeavors. So that consistent presence there, and the upgrade in services, outreach services, it's going to affect somebody. And
absolutely. Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
it's important to recognize that, and as a community organization, provide those avenues. So it's just another testament to you and the people that you work with, and on your staff and your management team there, and the fact that Torrington is becoming a progressive community. And I think in the case of having the prior information to access on how to possibly deal with this pandemic 100 years later is a testament to the what's coming more to the forefront in terms of the roots of Torrington. And I think if people understood a little more clearly why a library can be a functional component of a functioning community, then I think people will understand what a greater sense of community is all about.
Yes. And one of our roles is obviously to disseminate information to the best of our ability. We always say in library world, we don't pick sides when we disseminate information, but we do give you the resources in order to make up your mind on certain situations. So obviously with COVID being really the focus of our world right now, and the vaccine being the focus of our world, we immediately said, okay, how do we, as an organization that really has a pretty good reach in not just Torrington, but also Litchfield County, how can we help? So we reached out to Charlotte Hungerford Hospital and obviously Brian and Dr. Scalise, and we said, are you willing to come in, do a couple of Zoom community conversations about the vaccine, about distribution, about the safety of it? I mean, just answer people's questions, because there's a lot of questions, and right now there's not a great forum in order to get those questions answered. And it was, within an hour of me asking the question, they immediately responded and said, yes, we would love to. We'd love to do some programming with you. We'd love to do something via Zoom. We have flyers you can hand out and everything. So that's where, as a community, you come together and you say, okay, how do we get this information into people's hands? How do we do it responsibly? How do we make sure that the information we're putting out is accurate? It's by trusted professionals, which follow any news media source today, and that's a huge topic of conversation. So in February, we're hosting 2 informational sessions, a brief overview of the vaccine, Hartford Healthcare and Charlotte's Hungerford's distribution plan, which is really, I have to give kudos to them, because it is very well thought out, and it's I think keeping a lot of them awake at night in a good way, because I really think they care and they're taking a lot of time to do this the right way. So we're partnering with them, and we're just going, hey, let's have a conversation. And I love that we can do that we have the ability to just reach out to people and have them go, oh yeah, absolutely, let us know what we can do. We're there. And that's a testament to having some deep roots in the community too.
Jessica, how has being a mother now affected your approach to work?
Coffee. Lots of coffee. No, so I mean, most people know I have a 4-year-old son who is just absolutely adorable and sweet, and is, if you think I talk a mile a minute and I'm high energy, just stay with him for 20 minutes. I think it gives you an entirely different perspective, because that working perspective, and then you put working mom perspective on top of it, is completely different. I think as a director, as a boss, it makes you grant a little more grace maybe than you did before kids. So you have a much better understanding of an employee who's calling you at 6 a.m. because her child is sick and she's losing her mind. And it makes you kind of step back and go, it's going to be fine. Don't worry. It's okay. I get it. My kid stuck a crayon up his nose too. I'm right there with you. I understand. So yeah, I think it just makes you a little bit more empathetic to the struggles and challenges, not just of your employees, but of your patrons too. And that's always a plus when you can put yourself in somebody else's shoes, and it makes you better at time management, without a doubt. Without a doubt, knowing you got to get to work and your kid's still, eating his pancake for the 4th hour of the morning and doesn't quite seem to want to finish that. And you're like, well, come on, we got to go. And I get to bring him to work with me all the time, which is incredible. So I get to see, he's kind of like our guinea pig, if that sounds bad. I don't know if that sounds bad, but, we get to kind of see what he's psyched about. Is he psyched about this craft that Miss Sue is doing? Is he interested in this book? Is he really reacted well to a new book I brought home? Great, let's do that one for story time. And it's just fun little things like that. And again, I have developed a coffee addiction. And as you can see on my old card catalog, there's actually a coffee maker back there in my office. That's how being a working mom is. That's the truth.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Nothing like a good cup of Joe to send you on your way.
I know.
Before we begin to close, talk to our audience a little bit about your philosophy on the arts and why it's important now, and what role that perspective plays in your programming.
So I think we just kind of went through a little bit of a period, especially with COVID, where we were without the arts for a while. And the one thing that I think, I heard this phrase, and I can't speak to who said it, but it said, without the arts, there is a lack of joy in a lot of places. And I kind of felt like we were missing that joy of going to a live performance, of going out to eat beforehand, of being able to go to an art gallery, or even just see a performance. Everything was just paused, and people were really joyless. So we said to ourselves, yes, we can do the educational programming, which is really important and has a really important role. But you know what? Let's just do like really fun stuff too. We just had a program that was all about underground New York. I had 120 people registered via Zoom and 100 people on a wait list because my Zoom account wouldn't hold over 120 people. And everybody just said, oh my gosh, this was so fun. So I think that's what our goal in programming is let's just make it fun right now. Give people something to do. Give them a reason to look forward to a Thursday night. I mean, all of our programs are on Thursday nights, mostly 6:30 until about 8. Let's just give them something to look forward to. Whether it's learning about dogs or New York Underground. We have a great one coming up right around Valentine's Day called Murder and Mayhem in New York. I mean, how cool is that? And so that was it. Let's just bring a little joy back into people's lives. And we also made a point of trying to promote other organizations' attempts at programming and events, because we knew that the more we shared different arts organizations and virtual tours that people were offering, which was just like the coolest thing back in the spring when people really started to do those virtual tours. I mean, you could like tour the Louvre from your couch in your pajamas. And how fun was that? So we made a point to try to highlight all of these different things because people just needed to be happy again. And they needed something to look forward to. And so for us, when we have people saying, oh, we love that program. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. We just had a ball. We're like, mission accomplished, job done. We're thrilled. And that's what we keep thinking about. And it's also been really cool, just as a side note, we obviously have done all virtual programming. We're not doing anything in-house. It's just too iffy right now. But we advertise through Eventbrite. So yesterday I get an email last night that says, wow, I really enjoyed the program. Thanks so much. From Australia. Like during what other time on what other planet is a person from Australia going to attend a virtual program at the Torrington Library in Connecticut? So I'm definitely, if you ask my staff, I'm like a silver linings girl. They're like, the computer's crashed. I'm like, well, there's got to be something good that came out of it. And so this is where I kind of do my silver lining spiel of, listen, we can't get together in person, but how cool is it that you got to be on a computer screen with somebody from Australia? Or we've had people from London, from Canada, from Arizona, San Francisco. That's really a cool experience. And we're not going to experience that again once we start doing in-person programs. So take advantage of it, have a little fun with it. But yeah, it's just, bringing the joy back, I think, is our goal right now. And books are joy. So.
Jessica, I can't tell you how fun this conversation was with you.
I know, and I haven't seen you in ages. It's been fun.
Well, obviously, you've been hard at work, being one of the pillars of the community and putting your best foot forward to make Torrington be the best that it can be.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a lot of really, really, well, my staff is beyond incredible. They just, keep me sane. And then looking at all the other organizations in town, they just, they knock it out of the park every time they try something. So, I'm in really, really good company with some absolutely incredible people in town. So it's a good place. It's a good seat at the table. It's a fun place to be.
Jessica, I can't tell you my time here in Torrington, the relationships I've been able to build with your family, and you go way back, and it's that's part of what makes Torrington the special place that it is, because it's the people in the community that make the community.
It totally is. It totally is. I'm a Torrington girl, born, bred, and raised, and everybody knows my dad. Everybody knows my folks, and can't get away with anything because of it. But no, it's a great place. I love it.
Well, we hope to definitely have some more conversations with you in the future. Yes. Definitely keep us posted on the great things that you're doing at the Torrington Library, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Great.
In the meantime, give your family the best. My best.
I will.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jessica Janae from the Torrington Library, the director of the Torrington Library. Very well deserved. You guys stay tuned for more good stuff coming at you right here from City Views. You can check us out on our YouTube channel at cityviews-ct, or go to our website at cityviews-ct.com. Peace out, Jess.
Thanks, Jacques.